Hello everyone, welcome to the next lecture in a beginner's guide to raw vegan desserts. Thank you for joining me. My name is Greg, or otherwise known as Hagen's partner in crime. And today I'll be teaching you how to make a delicious chocolate avocado ganache. In this lecture, I'll take you through why this cake is a winner. I'll run through what resources are available to you, the equipment you'll need to make this cake, the ingredients, a short safety announcement, and then we'll get into creating this tasty morsel. Alright, so there's a good chance you've all tried a chocolate cake or two before, and generally they're all pretty good. But chocolate cakes are typically filled with sugar, and when eating them, they can sometimes leave your mouth feeling furry inside, like you've just been overloaded with sugar. Secondly, when it comes to mud cake, or like a chocolate mousse cake for example, they can be incredibly rich and decadent. And although that might be nice, it can also make it a challenge to get through the whole piece in one sitting. But then there's this cake, the chocolate avocado ganache. It's 100% raw vegan, paleo-friendly, gluten-free, and sugarless. From the many, and I mean many, taste tests that I've done in the past, I've come to the conclusion that this is the tastiest chocolate cake ever. This is one of my all-time favorite cakes, and has been a crowd favorite every time it's been made. The next simple reason why this cake is so good is that it takes barely no time at all to make. Excluding the waiting time, total preparation time is approximately 20 minutes, which makes this cake one of those ones you don't need to set aside a whole afternoon for. But if all of that didn't sell you, then imagine what it will feel like when your friends or family are eating this cake joyfully, and their faces of utter disbelief when you tell them that this cake is made from avocados and has some remarkable health benefits. Like being rich in vitamin B, C, E and K, folate, amino acids, essential minerals, and more. Now, I'm not saying you should be eating this cake for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I mean everything in moderation, right? But what I am saying is this cake is a healthy dessert alternative, whether you're vegan or not. Okay, for those of you who would like to have a reference to this recipe alongside this video lecture, you can download the recipe in the course resources. To make this cake a reality, you're going to need the following equipment in your kitchen. A 9-inch spring-form cake pan. Now, if you have a slightly smaller cake pan, not to worry, you might end up with a little left over. If you have a slightly larger cake pan, also not to worry. This just means your cake layer will only be slightly thinner. You're going to need baking sheet or parchment paper, a baking spatula or cake spatula, a soft rubber one is preferred, a preferably thin bladed kitchen knife, and also a high-speed blender. In this video we use a Thermomix, but any other high-speed blender works perfectly for this recipe. Now, without going through every individual item on the ingredients list, I'd like to provide a quick side note here. If you haven't done so already, be sure to watch the earlier lecture about the whole food plant-based ingredients used in this course. It is a great resource to learn more about the various ingredients used in this course, their health benefits, and of course alternative ingredients in case you don't have them readily available. Before we get started, just a quick note about safety. We're using a bunch of equipment that can harm you if you're not careful. Be smart, be safe, be careful, and of course, have fun. Okay, let's get to it. The first step, or rather step 0, is to soak 150 grams of almonds in cold water overnight, or for at least 6 hours. We need to do this so the almonds soften enough to become malleable to form the base of the cake. It's not critical that you do this step, but if your almonds aren't soft enough, the base won't stick together in the nicest way possible. After at least 6 hours, simply drain the water and let it sit in a colander for about 30 minutes. This will help the almonds to dry off a bit before we add them to the base mixture. If you've attended the other lectures in this course, you'll notice this step is a common one. Now, although repetitive, the purpose of this course is to help these steps soak in, pardon the pun, so you become more comfortable with how to make the cakes in this course, but also more confident in experimenting with your own cake and dessert creations. Step 1 is another familiar one from other lectures. Here we need to prepare our spring-form pan with baking paper and baste it with a good lathering of coconut oil. If you've never used a spring-form pan before, you'll notice that it has a buckle on the ring and a base that is separated when the buckle is loose. What we want to do here is take a sheet of baking paper and place it on the base. Then reattach and lock the spring-form pan onto the base. Use the images here as a reference to the steps to take, or follow along to the video guide up next. Step 2 is about preparing the crust or base of the cake. This step is super easy and quick if you have all of your ingredients ready to go. Pause this video to check if you have everything ready. Now start with adding 150 grams of almonds, 100 grams of pitted dates, 40 grams of almond meal, half a teaspoon of kosher salt, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Okay, please excuse us with the vanilla extract here. Once the ingredients are in place, it's time to mix it all up with your food processor. Mix on high for about 15 seconds. Do this 3 to 4 times and use a spoon or cake spatula to move the mixture in the bowl so it can blend better. We want to achieve a sticky dough consistency here. Once you're satisfied with the consistency, we want to now move the mixture into the spring-form pan. It's best to use your cake spatula for this too, so you can scrape any sticky bits off the sides of the mixing bowl. Once all the almond date dough mixture is in the pan, with your fingers, evenly press the dough along the bottom of the pan. Once you feel the mixture is spread out evenly, using your index finger, scrape the outermost edge of the base. This will help the base line of the cake to be straight and smooth. Once the base is ready and looking good, cover the top of the cake pan with a plate and put it in the freezer for about 1 hour whilst we prepare the chocolate filling. Now it's time to create the chocolate filling. We're going to use the same food processor, so you might want to give it a quick wash before we start. Also, do a quick check to see if you have all of the ingredients ready. All good? Okay, let's go. Start by adding 3 ripe avocados. Then 100 grams of cacao powder, 75 grams of coconut oil, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 150 grams of coconut sugar. Alright, good job. With all of the ingredients in the same food processor or high-powered blender, now blend for 15 to 20 seconds, about 4 times for a total of 2 minutes. After each 15 to 20 second period, stop the food processor and use a spatula to adjust the mixture before mixing again. Here we want the mixture to be silky smooth and creamy. It's getting there. Mix it around again and scrape down the sides as necessary. Perfect. Go on, have a little taste. I won't tell anyone. Well done! Believe it or not, we're almost there. If it's been about 1 hour, take your pan out of the freezer. Your almond crust base should be nice and hard by now. Now it's time to pour the filling. Use your cake spatula to scoop the chocolate filling onto the almond crust cake base. Level out the top with the cake spatula. There is no fine art to this, so you decide how smooth or rough you want the top of the cake to be. Alright, looking good. Okay, you're done here. Cover the cake again and place it in the freezer for at least 2 hours. Please ensure the cake is sufficiently covered so the freezer air won't get to it. It'll be ready for decorating or serving once the chocolate filling is completely firm. Also, a quick tip here. Before serving, run a knife under hot water to warm it up before cutting the cake. Now it's time to play the waiting game. Whilst we wait, you should know, if it's not already eaten, you can store this cake in the freezer for up to 1 week. Just ensure the cake is sufficiently covered so the freezer air won't get to it. Back to waiting. It's time! This is an exciting moment. It should be time to take the cake out of the freezer now. Run your knife under hot water to warm it up before cutting. Run your knife around the edge of the pan so you can separate the cake from the pan. Then unbuckle the pan and remove it very gently to avoid damaging the cake. Voila! Now it's time to decorate with your toppings of choice. For this cake, we've simply grounded some nuts and chocolate into a fine dust and sprinkled it over the cake. Simple. But you might like to decorate it with some blueberries, strawberries, or anything else that takes your fancy. Congratulations! Now it's time for the taste test.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I need more. I need my own. You can definitely say that you don't taste the avocados. No, you which is very, very good. Yeah.
Ja,
So, how does your cake taste? Did you find it easy to make? Was it challenging? What ingredients did you need to improvise with? We'd love to receive any feedback from you. If you're on Instagram, please share a photo and tag @Livingwithyoo. Hajan and I would love to see your creations. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for being a student of A Beginner's Guide to Raw Vegan Desserts. We hope you've found this recipe lecture useful. It's been a pleasure walking you through how to make this delicious chocolate avocado ganache cake, and we hope you have a great day.